Hey guys, what's up? It's Thomas. Tonight we're back here with, well, Phantom Strider, and this is actually his latest one. This is 10 banned or controversial emojis. I think the only one that really comes to mind is mostly the one that, wasn't it like a one that was like blackface or something? I don't know. It's a while, so let's just see what got these banned. So be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's check it out.
Howdy. Did you know
guys?
the word emoji is actually Japanese for picture character? Since their first
well,
origins in Japan, emojis have often been a helpful way to express emotions in fewer words. Or, in many cases, just a nuisance. But over the years,
it depends on the
some of these
emoji.
emojis have been frowned upon or even banned completely. They might be
Seriously?
insensitive or inappropriate in a particular culture, the result of a
Oh, that's
country's
not good.
very real censorship. Or they may have bothered people for a very silly reason. More on that.
AKA getting
It's
button
my
hurt.
pleasure to run through these emojis with you today. Let's check out the 10 banned
This should be
or
fun.
controversial emojis. And just a reminder, if you do have a differing opinion on some of these sensitive subjects, that's fine. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone, I respect your opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments below. And with that said, let's begin.
Let's get started.
For
First
number
up,
10 we have the peach emoji. Before 2016,
let me guess, because it
this
looks
was
like a butt?
the emoji used for Apple's peaches. You know, the company, not the fruit. And, well, that's not a peach. That's clearly a butt. I mean, how could a person not see that's a butt? Even Wikipedia,
Sorry,
the most dry-speaking professor you could possibly meet, pointed out literally in their second sentence that the peach was typically used as a buttocks.
During
When Apple's
sexting.
new
Oh,
operating
boy.
system dropped, they'd removed this peach butt and replaced it with a side-on peach butt. And as you can guess, fans
People were mad.
outraged. Many articles were written by fans expressing their dismay, such as Devon. He wrote,
oh boy.
What have you done, Apple? You destroyed these iconic images. I want my peach butt.
Fortunately, Apple did realize the error of their ways, and after much
long did
campaigning
it take 'em?
activism, the peach butt was brought back in a later update. Yay! In fact, Apple stood their ground and went on to make the new peach butt look even more like a butt. In a news article from The Verge,
we sure that's a good
Megan
idea?
wrote,
Apple has returned this fruit to its curvaceous glory, the shape we all
Racing?
know and love. Long
Oh, boy.
live the booty fruit.
yes, indeed. Long live the booty fruit.
Long live
And
the
coming
booty.
in at number 9, the
Good.
frowning poop emoji. We're starting
Frowning
with
poop?
all the silly ones, aren't we? You may already know,
Yep.
but the internet has a powerful organization called the Unicode Consortium. They are like the
That's a
United
thing?
Nations for smileys. They oversee the world's emojis and decide what should be added. And in 2018, they were in a contentious argument. In a roundtable discussion, they discussed new ideas to be released. And here, they were thoughtfully debating over a steaming, frowning pile of poop. Thankfully,
So,
digital
mad poop.
You see,
Sorry,
when
how do you
this
say it?
highly contentious issue was being discussed, the poop emoji was being decided on. Then, some genius at Apple popularized the poop emoji by adding a smiley to it. And that's when this debate
There?
started, because then the question was asked, should
Don't
a
we need
frowning
a range
poop
of
be
emotions
added
to
to
pile
the
up poop?
emojis? I mean, did we really need a smiling poop? Anyway, Michael Everson,
I
one of
don't
the
know.
lead topographers and critics of the committee, stood up and made this statement.
Organic waste isn't cute. Is there any real need to add emotion to a pile of poo? What's next? Crying poo?
He went on to discuss further
Ain't wrong.
emoji poops, which I won't
Alright.
elaborate on in the name of good taste. And he pointed out
Probably
the
for the
issue in
best.
the first place. Why do we need to give poop any emotion? He concluded his debate by
You
saying,
got me.
I have to wonder, what possible good could come of encoding such a character as poop?
The main concern of their discussion was the
Okay.
rushed approval of problematic emojis, such as emojis that could potentially be used to hurt people. In case of the frowning poop, they had a concern about bullying. So, the idea of a frowning poop emoji was flushed, and honestly, I personally think my life is richer for having never experienced
Fair
the
enough.
frowning poop emoji. Number 8.
Oops.
The eggplant emoji. Instagram had very strong feelings on the eggplant emoji. They strongly felt that the eggplant represented a guy's schlong.
Oh, that's nasty.
In fact, it was so
Thank you.
regularly used on the platform to represent the male anatomy that Instagram banned the use of the eggplant on their entire platform. Instagram even blocked any searches of the eggplant emoji. Instagram first caught on that something was up when they saw the hashtags eggplant and eggplant Friday go viral. Suddenly, this picture-based platform was flooded with not safe for work photos. And Instagram had this to say on the matter.
This is a breach of our guidelines. Our guidelines prohibit nudity and digitally created content that shows sensual intercourse. No genital.
Yeah, I think that's the wrong platform for that.
Drop emojis were considered controversial as well, as sometimes these would be used next to the eggplant, often to imply a person was finding their happy place.
Yeah.
But many were surprised because Instagram didn't ban the taco or the good old banana. And users like Alan called this an opportunity for these emojis.
This is actually
So,
great
Taco
news for
Friday
the
now?
banana, carrot, hot dog and donut emoji. Finally, they can make their debut. They have been waiting in the wings for their time
Oh
to
boy.
shine.
So when people want to make juvenile, silly jokes, at least they have a stand-in. Among social media,
Good luck with
there's
that.
even appreciation threads for these emojis, such as this one on Twitter on the banana.
We're not supposed to make eye contact when you eat bananas just because you want to make sure you keep it as G as possible.
And coming in at number 7.
Oh, what? Honestly, I'm like, what the fuck? Just, oh boy. I mean, I got really nothing else to say about that other than, Alright, moving along.
7. The Facebook feeling fat emoji. Thank you in advance for being particularly compassionate about this subject in the comments.
I'll be real, I don't
Eating
use
disorders
emojis,
can
so I'm like,
rule
what?
some people's lives, and it's the mental disorder with the highest death rate in the world. So as always, I thank you in advance for being thoughtful to others. You see, back in the day, Facebook introduced feelings with status updates. You've probably seen them before.
Yeah,
they
I
encourage
think I've
people
seen
to
those.
select how they're feeling with a bunch of pre-written options and emojis. Personally,
Sounds
when
about
I used
right.
to use Facebook, I never really bothered
what
using
happened?
the option. But they're quite popular, and for a time, one of the pre-written emotions was feeling fat. It was a chubby-cheeked, double-chinned emoji. Come on, Facebook. Really? From my understanding, there were multiple ways in which this emoji was an issue to some people. First off, this emoji wasn't appreciated by many people with eating disorders, body dysmorphia, or people who are ashamed of their bodies and their weight. And personally, I think I can understand that.
I think they
Having a larger body is
thought
not a
fat was
feeling. It
short
just
for
is.
flattering, but
it's a circumstance
no,
of that person's
no.
life. Be it a medical problem or whatever it is, we don't necessarily know why that person is big. Someone might have been teased in school for being larger, and this emoji could have acted as a trigger for those times when people were mocked or ridiculed. Also, when social media easily allows a person to select "I'm feeling fat today," this can encourage many people to feel shame about their bodies. Not necessarily you or me, but other people. It's a bit like if Facebook had put "I'm feeling ugly today" as an option, and some anorexic people can believe they're fat no matter how thin they are. Whether it be a larger person, a person with an eating disorder, or an anorexic person, this was just a bad choice of a quote-unquote emotion. Eventually, some people who saw this feeling
can we
fat
please
emoji
get rid of
started
that?
a Change.org petition. Catherine was the creator of the biggest petition, and she was particularly concerned for people who
12,000.
struggle with eating disorders, or people who are shamed enough about their body weight to struggle to even leave the house. And I think she made some interesting points in her petition.
That is not a feeling, and it shouldn't be an emoji either. With 890 million users each day, Facebook has the power to influence how we talk to each other about our bodies.
Claire
True.
Nisco is the director
Look at Trump
of
and
the
how he used
National
Twitter to get ahead.
Eating Disorders Association. This organization often advises Facebook and other social networks on policies that might affect the body image of users. And they had similar thoughts.
While social media doesn't cause eating disorders, negative body
True,
talk
true.
in comments and status can amplify thoughts and behaviours that lead to disorders.
At first, Facebook
it's
refused
all
to
in the
change
mental
the
game.
emotion, but eventually they did modify
serious?
their double-chinned emoji. In a statement, Facebook said,
We agreed to remove the emoji after we heard the emoji could reinforce negative body images, particularly from people struggling with eating disorders.
so later this emoji
That'll
was
lengthen.
replaced with feeling stuffed, which is definitely a feeling I have sometimes. Personally, I don't think
Fair,
we lost that
but-
much by not having a feeling fat emoji. If a couple of people
Yeah,
feel slightly
that
less
could have
miserable about
been a
themselves,
little better.
who cares about the stupid feeling fat emoji? I'm sure we'll live without it. Number
Number
6.
6.
The yellow face emoji. Apple came up with this one back when they released the Mac Yosemite operating system. As a result, they ended up in some hot water. You see, Apple, like other platforms, allowed people to choose between different skin colors in their human emojis. And Apple had added a bright yellow skin emoji to this OS. And many people assume this was Apple adding Asian skin colors to the mix. China's equivalent to Twitter is Weibo, and it was ablaze with differing opinions on this yellow-faced emoji. The problem was, it was so strongly bright yellow that some felt it was racist. Others just felt the face was suffering from jaundice. That's a blood disorder that can cause the body to go yellow. But some Asian people didn't mind it because they were just happy to finally have their own unique skin color in digital text. Previously, many Asians tended to use the white-faced emoji, so at least this was some representation they could use. What's interesting though is Apple was actually taking the Lego approach. They were trying to make this bright yellow the default skin color, a bright yellow that represented all races. The tricky part is, when you look at popular shows like The Simpsons, yellow seems to represent white in that show. When I look at characters like Carl or Dr. Hibbert, they clearly have a darker skin tone. In my own personal experience as a white dude, yellow tends to be the emoji color I use the most often. A 2018 study found a lot of Caucasian people do this as well. But you know, when I can't fully understand the complexity of a problem like this, I just try to follow the basic rule to be kind and considerate to others. Fun fact though, the original 1997 emojis had no color except black and white. When texting though, most of us just stuck with the basic text emoticons for a long time. I still use emoticons to this day. It's what I grew up with. It wasn't until the days of MSN Messenger that many of us started having real fun with emojis. But anyway, my past aside, moving on.
Yep, moving on. Number 5.
The Google burger emoji. Some people were very upset about this emoji. This burger was a great wrongdoing by Google and landed them in a lot of controversy. And in the end, Google was forced to remove this emoji and replace it. Now, like me, when you first see this burger, you probably just see an emoji. But when some Americans saw it, they saw a travesty of justice. Why, you ask?
Justice?
Well, the cheese was placed on the bun instead of on the patty. Needless to say, this issue exploded on social media. News outlets like The Verge were horrified. They warned viewers of this.
Google's positioning of the cheese is blasphemous. It simultaneously defies culinary physics and good taste.
Eventually, this horrible crime
of
nature was taken all the way to the top, to the CEO of Google. And regarding this matter, this is what he had to say.
Oh no, we will drop everything we are doing and address this on Monday.
But the controversy and backlash was so great that Google was later forced to address this at a conference.
Is this thing on? Last year, it came to my attention that we had a major bug in one of our core products. It turns out we got the cheese wrong in the burger emoji.
Oh gee, hey!
So yeah, my sarcasm aside, some people felt really strongly about getting the hamburger right. Well, no one was hurt by it, so good for them.
Hey, just be glad they included the cheese, you know?
Apple's gorilla and clown emoji. When a new product or service is released,
I think gorilla is not about Harambe, but what about the clown?
Apparently, this is no different for emojis, such as the gorilla emoji. It stirred a lot of controversy, and this was mostly due to it being released in very poor timing. You see, at the time the gorilla emoji was released, the internet was in an uproar with memes and stories surrounding Harambe, a gorilla who had attacked a 4-year-old at Cincinnati Zoo. So when this emoji was released shortly after the incident, it left some people questioning, is this gorilla Harambe? The answer was, of course, no, it's not Harambe. It's just your average, moderately attractive gorilla.
What you looking at?
But since this incident and this emoji occurred at the same time, some people were left confused. Another victim of poor timing was the clown emoji. You see, in 2016, a marketing stunt was done to promote Stephen King's horror film, It. People were dressing up as clowns and showing up in odd locations all around the world, like the edge of a forest, car parks, and schools.
The scary clown
It was meant to be a
stuff.
little bit of innocent fun. Unfortunately, it caught the attention of some very mentally disturbed people. These people thought this marketing stunt was an opportunity to be criminals. So, disguised in clown costumes, a string of crimes were committed across the world. Without going too in-depth, these crimes range from petty pranks to outright murders. In case you're interested in hearing the full story, I've linked the YouTube video from Murder with My Husband that discusses it. Needless to say, when the clown emoji emerged from 2016, it fell victim to a lot of controversy. In extreme cases, Apple was even accused of orchestrating the clown craze to promote the emoji. But that's a little too tinfoil hat for me personally.
Yeah.
But despite the poor timing and backlash, the release of both emojis did eventually go ahead. But to be fair,
I completely forgot about those clown
always been
sightings.
scary. That's the whole reason they work so well in It. No one likes them. No one wants to be a clown.
So, what's
Clowns are like the
Pennywise
worst
one?
thing ever.
Like
Now let me show you
2017?
my new juggling trick. They call this
Number
Number 3.
3? Oh, we'll get to that in a second, but dang, I completely forgot about the, clown thing. Yeesh. Like, I saw a gorilla, I was like, oh yeah, Harambe. But when the other one was up, I was like, huh? I'll be real, I completely forgot. Anyone else? Well, anyway, how about we move on? We're down to the final 3 anyway, so let's see what tops the list, and see why they got banned.
The accessibility icon. I find the accessibility icon fascinating, as it has 2 strong opposing sides. By some, it's praised, and it's even created a street art guerrilla graffiti campaign called the Accessible Icon Project. Yet at the same time, it's been banned by the US federal government, and its emoji was rejected by the International Organization for Standardization.
Say what now?
At first,
Thanks,
it
Charlie.
was
I'm like,
introduced
what?
as an emoji in the iPhone operating system, but since then, it's seen a lot of controversy from many different sides. Now, when I see this
What
icon,
for?
obviously, I speak as someone who's not physically disabled, but I personally
Yeah,
see
true. I'm
this
so
new
ready to go.
symbol as a more active, dynamic, and positive depiction of a disabled person. The Accessibility Icon Project's website points this out too. Unlike the original 1968 disabled symbol, this person looks in motion. I think the old disabled icon makes a disabled person look passive and ready to be pushed to a destination. They couldn't even be bothered giving them a head. But this icon makes the person look in control of their destiny. But authorities were not having it, and tried to crack down on this new accessibility symbol, unofficially replacing the old one. In fact, the Federal Highway and Transportation Agency made it illegal to use this new symbol. The project's founder, Associate Professor Glennie, said,
This disruption further educates of what it is to be a person with a disability. It highlights that a person with disabilities is active. They are agents unto themselves.
It's funny because despite the Federal Highway Agency outlawing
honestly, I think I
this
like the
symbol,
new symbol.
I couldn't
It
find
works.
a strong reason for it to be so illegal. The only real underlying issue I could find was the people making this symbol weren't disabled. And I think I can understand why this might have bothered
Honestly,
some disabled people.
so?
This is how I picture it in my mind.
I think I kinda like this one. It looks best,
And it
you know?
bothers me when I see actors who aren't on the autism spectrum playing autistic characters in shows. Why not just hire an autistic actor to play an autistic character? I assure you, there's plenty of us out there who would desperately like the work. That being said, I couldn't find
True,
any
but
actual
I think it
complaints
depends
from
on the
disabled
range,
people
you know?
regarding the whole not made by disabled people thing. Unfortunately, governing city planning boards continue to crack down on this new icon. In fact, the Federal Transportation Agency put out a memorandum in 2016, and it read as follows.
Nobody can use this symbol in all of America, because I said so.
And then the Federal Highway and Transportation Agency put out a cease and desist against the use of this icon. Why? What a bunch of jerks.
Yeah,
why would they do that?
what did they do?
I honestly could not figure out what the federal agency's problem was. Why ban this symbol? What's wrong with it? My best guess is
Yeah, I see
because
nothing wrong
the
with it.
icon saw many people go out and graffiti or paste it over the old 1968 version. And while I personally think that's a really cool idea, perhaps the transportation agency didn't want to be seen as endorsing graffiti. So now, states like Ohio, Rhode Island, and Mexico do use the symbol, but they use it unofficially, and sites like Apple, Discord, and WhatsApp have all adopted it as an emoji. Interestingly, on my computer, in my script in Google Docs, it showed up as the accessibility icon. But when I looked at the script on my tablet, it showed up as a 1968 version. Anyway, most of my research
like the new
shows
version,
disabled
to be
people
honest.
like the symbol.
I think they just
but
didn't
for
like how
whatever
they went
reason,
about it.
The US Federal
You know?
Transport Agency just can't stand it and has outlawed it. Personally, I hope this icon gets adapted more worldwide in the future. Because I
let's
like
just
it
hope they
way
do it
better
through like
than the
official
original.
means,
It's
you know?
amazing to have it featured in a museum as high profile as MoMA, but on the streets is where I want it.
Number
Fair
2.
enough. Like I said, you might want to just do it through the official
water
means.
pistol emoji. The controversy for this one was huge.
Yeah,
And
whoops.
just a warning ahead, we will be very lightly discussing some gun violence in this particular
Yeah.
segment. So, after
Unfortunately,
several
kind
shootings
of a
happened in the USA,
bad idea.
and the country hit
I think on it.
33,000 gun-related deaths per year, Apple decided to replace its gun emoji as a water pistol. While some people didn't mind the change, a lot of people on social media were furious. In case you don't know, how an emoji looks varies based on what website you use. For example, on the website JoyPixels, the pistol emoji looks like a bullet gun, but on an Apple device, the same emoji looks like a water gun. That's why your emoji looks different based on what phone, website, or app you're using. But as I
True.
said, Apple's water guns in particular caused a great deal of pushback from social media. On websites like Twitter and Facebook in particular, people claimed woke culture, snowflake, blah blah blah. Some people
Honestly,
even claimed
I heard,
censorship.
like, just
But in
shut up.
reality, the word censorship means when a government censors press or speech. For example, the Chinese firewall blocks access to foreign information and news sources, effectively forcing Chinese people to only hear news sources within the Chinese communist regime. To Twitter,
Yep.
that is real censorship. This is a private company replacing a gun emoji with a water pistol. As far as censorship goes, there's a little bit of a difference. Twitter users in particular were furious. Regardless of what news article I looked at, almost unanimously, Twitter users yelled woke culture, sellout, or they just called it LBGT slurs, which I won't repeat here.
Yeah,
Years
basically
later,
F-word.
when Microsoft chose to change to a water pistol as well, once again, Twitter tore them apart, calling them pathetic, thought police, snowflakes, idiots, yeah, you've heard it.
Guys, do you ever read the
Honestly, my
news?
life's been a lot more peaceful since I stopped visiting the Twitter website. When you walk away from Twitter,
Fair enough.
ask yourself, am I feeling
Is this even
happier
worth
for
it?
having visited that website? Do I even have any more knowledge of the world? I recommend trying
I say
credible
no.
news websites like Al Jazeera instead. From my personal experience, I haven't missed Twitter at all. Anyway, we can see from this
Fair.
how a lot of social media reacted. But how did the big companies react to the water pistol?
So-
Well, pretty civil by comparison. For example, there was the Unicode Consortium. They're that United Nations of emojis I talked about before. And they
Yeah,
had a
what they say.
debate on whether to introduce the rifle emoji. But Apple's representative requested they not add it. In their words, they said,
We will not be supporting a rifle on our platforms, and we politely request that the rifle not be made into an emoji.
and believe
Thank
it or
you.
not, there actually wasn't a lot of argument about this request. In an
Easy.
interview, a member of the consortium said,
Well, actually, nobody in the room seemed to mind not encoding the rifle.
Really? Thank you for being civil. No one in the debate
Yeah,
had to yell slurs
honestly,
at each other
that's
or
why I'm
call
kinda
each
off
other
Twitter,
snowflakes.
just-
They all just
Ugh.
thought about it and made a calm decision. Thank you to whoever was in that meeting. That's always appreciated. And the big companies' attitudes towards pistol emojis do show nowadays, because Apple's
God.
water gun decision was first made back in 2016, and as of 2023, most of the top platforms have also chosen to go water gun emojis. A lot of Twitter users seem to think they were very clever by mocking that this will single-handedly stop gun violence, but I don't think that any of the platforms thought that. I think the water gun emoji is just meant as a symbolic gesture to minimize gun availability. That's it. Even if it's just
You hear that, NRA? Just lay off, would ya? Hey, I had to point it out. Like, sheesh. I'll be real. Like, I mean, considering all the shootings that have been happening lately, I'm just saying, just let us be able to track the guns, so, or at least give us an option of making sure they're going to the right people. Like, it's not really making, like, geez. Sorry, I'm not gonna I'll stop before I go into a gun safety rant. Like, come on, man, come on. Like, oh, there's not enough proof. Like, dude, do you see how many shootings we've been having lately? Like, stop. Okay, I'm done. Moving along.
Just digital guns,
But
at
still,
least it's a
just-
symbol.
ugh.
And what child or adult is actually going to be hurt by this decision? Maybe the Discord duck hunting club? But even then, they can just make their
That's not
own
even a
custom
thing.
emojis. And if they want, they don't have to have any water pistols. They can ban them if they want.
Easy,
And finally,
yeah.
let's check out number 1.
Yeesh.
Apple's
Is it?
LGBTQ emojis. Just a warning ahead, we will be talking about
Did the Westboro
some
Baptist Church get
faulty
involved here?
levels of discrimination and censorship going on in some countries. You see,
Russia?
when Apple released their 2016 emoji keyboard, they ruffled a lot of feathers. 2 entire countries worth of feathers, in fact. And they managed to attract a Russian government investigation. Holy cow. But I should start by mentioning, many citizens were appreciative of the tech giant's efforts to be ethnically inclusive and create a more realistic depiction of global society. You know, one beyond the heterosexual family, such as emojis from
Yeah.
different flags of various nations and a wider range of skin tones. And
Thank you.
emojis that showed families of same-gender couples. But sadly, there were certainly people that were not on board, such as when the Indonesian government removed all same-sex emojis and stickers from all social media and messaging platforms. Both the Indonesian government and many Indonesian organizations abhorred anything LGBTQ related. I studied Sharia law in trade
That's not
school,
good.
and it's not a lot better than Christianity when it comes to LGBT people. Basically, if you're not heterosexual, these two gods are going to be about as friendly as an angry Thanos. That being said,
Pretty
from
much.
my limited understanding, a lot of Indonesian society is more accepting than their religion is, with some gay and transsexual entertainers appearing on TV shows, which is not much, but at least it's a step in the right direction. But at the same time,
True.
we have cases like 2015, where Sharia police arrested a pair of young women for hugging in public. And Indonesian Twitter
Jesus,
and
dude.
Facebook were certainly not safe spaces for the LGBTQ community either. And the websites exploded with criticism of Line and its competitor WhatsApp for containing LGBTQ emojis. Human Rights Watch tried to call on the Indonesian president to protect gay and lesbian rights, but
Let me
at
guess,
the time,
he
it
was
seemed
a
they
no
didn't
dude?
want to hear it. And unfortunately, this ban on same-sex family emojis wasn't limited to Indonesia. Russia did the same. Why? Well, a
Why am I
Russian
not
senator
surprised?
said, "These emojis fall under a law that prohibits the promotion of non-heterosexual relationships." And I guess by promotion, he means
jeez.
acknowledging anything outside of heterosexuality exists. He went on to
Yep.
state that these emojis
boy.
denied family values and showed disrespect
sure
for
about that?
parents and other family members. How? How does it do that? I know I use this meme a lot,
Well,
but can I have one more?
Here you go.
Ryan?
Russia and Indonesia.
Thank you.
Thank
so,
you.
the Russian media watchdog
Yeah,
was
they're
going to
basically
file
stuck in
a
the past.
lawsuit against Apple.
Hey.
Why? For promoting gay propaganda. Oh, Jeebus, this is horrible.
Fuck's sake.
Sadly, this is a real law that Putin continues to enforce in Russia. Now, while some people may disagree with me on this, I respect you enough to let you know my honest opinion. Whether it be seen as political or not, if something is dangerous or wrong, I am not going to lie to you. And obviously, I think this Russian rule is repulsive and absolute utter horse crap. And Putin's
Thank you.
crackdown on the LGBTQ community does continue to this day. In 2022, the only
Unfortunately so.
LGBTQ history museum in Russia was shut down, and Buttface recently expanded these anti-gay laws. Now they suppress LGBTQ media not just to children, but every citizen of Russia. Hopefully those Twitter
Jesus
users can see
Christ.
from this example that Apple using a water gun emoji is
Yeah.
not
Oh, it's
censorship.
censorship.
This Russian
This is-
anti-LGBTQ law is very real censorship. And unlike a water gun, this will legitimately hurt people. And it's
True.
this sort of thing that the word censorship was actually designed for. Honestly, I wish I could end on a more positive note, but I don't want to lie to you. These sort of laws are seriously messed up. And if you have a Russian friend, I hope you can offer your respect and support to them. The same goes for Indonesia. Not all citizens there have it easy.
Вы личность, вы индивид. вы тот, кто вы есть.
There's so many different ways we can view an emoji based on context and who is viewing it. But for you and I think if we show a little consideration to others, that's about all we can do. Also, to lighten things up, here's a cute pug. I call him Ralph.
Yeah,
Ruffy!
And if you have an opinion on these emojis or something you'd like to share, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Please look after yourself and each other. And as always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I might see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Today's member question.
Yeah, I'll be real. Like, jeez. I feel bad for the Indonesians. Like, Russia was like, well, that's obvious. I mean, Putin's still a dick. But Indonesia, huh? Oof. Well, good to know I'm not going there. Just saying. Oof. That's rough. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Let me know what you guys think. You think they deserve to be banned? Well, I mean, for me, some do deserve, like the gun, but yeah, other than that, not really. Yeesh. Sounds like people were just getting upset over nothing. Anyway, until next time, guys, like, subscribe for more. See ya.